Welcome to the show, everybody. We got a show for you. It's the Get Off My Lawn Records podcast number 7.
Number 7.
Number 7. Steven, how many have you been on now?
I lose count. It's
You're
just
on a lot of these.
It's just so much fun that it all blurs together.
Right. And who the bleep are you?
Well, I am Stephen Walker, broadcasting to you live from the United States of Ignorance in the kingdom of Trumplandia.
Oh.
God help us all.
Oh, we're going to try to keep this to a minimum, guys. It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And why are you part of the label?
So I am here because the wonderful Mr. Don has given me this great space to record my podcast, Escape from Ignorance, which is now more valuable to the world than ever.
That's right. We're gonna make art great again, despite what just happened. Punk rock is gonna be amazing for the next 8 years.
That is true.
I'm just going on history.
Yeah.
But let's work.
I actually think that's a valid point, that a silver lining of this whole debacle will be a resurgence of great art.
Right.
Because a lot of artists who thought they were the Republic are now the Rebellion.
Right. It's time to go blow up the Death Star, everybody. All right. And who the bleep are you sitting next to Steven here?
I'm Ben Vogel.
That's right.
I've been playing bass with Don and Josh in the Jazz Destroyers occasionally.
All right, take it down a notch. This isn't on late night TV. So you're Ben Vogel, right?
Yeah.
You play bass. You go to school?
Yeah, occasionally when I wake up in time. Going to UT.
You're working on your master's?
Yeah,
In what?
music composition.
And what are you going to do when you decide that you actually need to make money? I'm
Well,
kidding. Of course
you
I'm
know-
kidding. Ben's really good, everybody. Ben's really good. You've been on you've been on a bunch of the Freeform Fridays. All the Harp by Andrea ones was Ben on bass, playing Tom's beautiful Elric. And I know Tom has offered it to sale for Ben, so we'll see if any news comes of that. But so I got to know Ben. What happened was Matt Butler, who he does the End of the World Orchestra. I was talking to him. I said, "Man, I need a backup bass player. I just have Tom, because Tom's been playing bass with me forever, and years." And he said, "You should reach out to the UT department head of the bass performance." And I did, and he gave me Ben's name, and it's been absolutely wonderful ever since. Thank you for being part of the project.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you have other projects going on?
Well, I've kind of on and off when I get time for it with school. I've been writing my own tunes, and I guess I'm going to make a record in 2017. It's one of my New Year's resolutions, because it's about time.
Right, and we'll talk about that a little later in the podcast. That'll be in our announcement section. And sitting next to you is I'm gonna say who the bleep you are, because this is Josh Peters, and Josh Peters, I think you've been on just about every Freeform Fridays.
I think so.
And I talk to people about it, right? And they don't realize it's you. Like a lot of people haven't correlated. Like, oh, he was playing guitar in this one, and now he's playing drums in this one, and here he is playing the trumpet, and here he's playing a hand drum. You're how many instruments do you play? All of them.
A bunch of them.
Yeah.
We'll just stick with that.
Yeah. And you play in some other projects than the Jazz Destroyers.
I do. Yeah, I play with predominantly Turkish group called Eşki Meşk. I play occasionally with Sadi Andoni and his group Indimaj.
Indramaj. Is it
And,
Indimaj?
Indimaj.
God, see, I
Yeah.
can't pronounce it. You need to help me get with Sari on this one. I've been working on Charlie.
Yeah. You're
We're
breaking
gonna
Charlie
do
down.
4 ouds. I'm gonna play the Glissentar, and the 3 of you are gonna play oud, and we're gonna cut a record in an afternoon.
Oh,
It's gonna be a lot of
Oods,
fun.
love an Oud. Ouds are great.
Doesn't that sound fun? You want to shoot it?
That's actually a total Doctor Who reference.
It is.
Is it?
Indeed.
I'm a Star Wars guy. What can I say? What else should we know about you?
Well, I too have been. I've already been working on a bunch of tunes, and I'm planning on recording an album
Yeah,
here probably this winter.
winter's
Later.
good.
Or
Winter
maybe
helps.
a little bit very early next year. We'll see.
This is what kills me. I got months. Yeah, so we're gonna do that one. We've been talking about that. So
Yeah.
so we're gonna actually later in the podcast, during our announcements, we'll kind of I've been talking about the projects a lot, but you and I we're gonna talk about the process and how we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna point that out to everybody on Gear Sluts. Big love to my Gear Sluts family. I know there's a few of the guys watching the show. So, who are you? You're being very quiet.
I am the angel of vengeance.
You really are. And you're married tonight. And you did our contracts.
I did.
So
you should really read the fine print.
You really should.
Don't blame me. We're going to talk about the structure of the contract also when we talk about the production. That's kind of what we're going to do with our Escapist Fund. We're going to go talk about how we make music. Thank you for doing the contracts.
You're welcome.
Do you regret marrying me?
Only every third Thursday.
Every third Thursday. That's how that goes. I've always joked that, like, the day she divorces me is the day this podcast goes viral. Because, you know, that needs to go on silent.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah, we're, and I'm Donald W. Moore. I started Get Off My Lawn Records. I'm the guitarist for the Jazz Destroyers. I started it with Jake, but I was the bass player back then. Because, like Josh, I play everything. Except you're better at drums than I am by a long shot. And I started Get Off My Lawn Records because I just wanted to find a way to help my friends make music in a sustainable way. Because for a long time, I was a for-hire studio. All this stuff you see in this room, this used to exist in commercial space. And, you know, I kind of man-caved it up a little bit when I moved home, but I used to charge by the hour, and I'd charge $40 an hour, and it was really hard to make a living at it. And it was really hard to sleep at night when people would bring you stuff, and it's really rough and not good, and there's just not a thing you're going to be able to do for them to be able to sell records because they're unwilling to market themselves and all these things. And so then how do you charge them $300 a day when the average income in America is $30,000 a year? So I was feeling like a leech, and I said, well, instead of that, I'm going to go be a record label, the traditional leech.
Yeah.
Right? The record label's always the leech. But we're doing this in such a way, we structure the contracts in such a way where nobody makes more than anybody else. Because I'm a part of the project as everybody else is a part of the project. And so I'm not doing it to get rich. I'm doing it to help show the world who these great musicians are. And there's some really happening stuff going on. So that's who I am, and welcome to the show. We've got our 7 sections. We're going to do a difference this week with the next section. We're going to do it in a single video on Monday, and it'll be we're going to just put it up. We'll call them Do You Give a Bleep? And I will go for trying to squeeze all 5 of these, but we may have to start reducing the number of Do You Give a Bleeps in the future to just a couple.
These are short.
Okay. That'll help. All right, so what's next? Section 2. Do you give a bleep?
Section 2.
What is Do you give a bleep? I always explain it. Your turn.
Do You Give a Bleep is the section where Dawn makes me go out and find random, meaningless news stories to
generate search traffic.
Yeah, basically.
It's clickbait.
That's the nice way to put it.
It's clickbait. We're trying to build an audience for the label. We're currently, I'm happy to report, at 72 subscribers. And we're on episode 7. So we're doing about 10 a week right now, which is good. But I am just about every one of them I have personally met or I know, and I say, hey, please go subscribe to this. So I joke that I'm going to start leaving my friends alone when I hit 100. So share this with someone, help them get subscribed, and help us get to our 100, because there's things that happen on the back end when we hit to 100 that is important. So what's our first Do You Give a Bleep? Because I don't give a bleep this week.
Leonard Cohen.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like The Future is a very appropriate song for this moment.
Right, and I'm just going, thanks, Trump. He's the best. He was the best.
Yeah.
He wrote Hallelujah. I mean, if anybody other than Bob Dylan was going to get the Nobel Prize, and we talked about that in the previous video. Stephen, put up your left hand. And yeah, there'll be a card right there to us talking about the Dylan stuff. But Leonard Cohen probably also deserved it.
Yeah, Definitely.
And I think that's why they hadn't given it to a songwriter up until that point, was because it's so subjective.
It is.
Leonard Cohen was the best. So I give a bleep. Do you give a bleep?
I certainly give a bleep.
Yeah. How about you, Ben? You give a bleep?
Oh, of course. Leonard Cohen was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steven, you give a bleep?
I think a voice like his only comes along once in a generation.
Yeah.
Like it's just that his voice is really jumps out in the pantheon of great vocalists as having just a unique quality to it. My first exposure was Natural Born Killers.
Okay.
I had never heard of him before. I saw that movie, which I absolutely love, and the second the first track from him comes on, I'm just like, what is this unearthly creature that is singing right now? And I went down that rabbit hole and
Right.
never looked back.
Right. And I will say this on Get Off My Lawn Records. There's now a contact link on getoffmylawnrecords.com, and you can get in touch with me. Like if anybody's making a short film and they want to use their music in their film, we can work that out in a really sustainable way. Because I know I've made a movie on a budget of $8,000. I know how that goes. So get in touch if you want to use the songs, and we'll figure that out. Yeah, Leonard Cohen, man. So we all do you give a bleep?
Of course I give a bleep.
You got to start doing the ones where we don't give bleeps.
I tried that,
It
and
needs
you
to be a nice bit.
and you basically acted frustrated with me. So no,
was-
you get the ones where I give a bleep, and
Yeah.
I don't actually care whether you give a bleep or not.
All right, that makes sense. But I'm just trying to do search traffic. All right, what's next?
Robert Vaughn also died this week.
Thanks, Trump.
See, as much as I hate Trump for many reasons, I actually don't see the causation line between
Right.
between him and Cohen or Robert Vaughn.
Right, and
No,
there was no
he's-
correlation for most of the thanks Obamas. So
Right.
I'm just trying to be funny. Somebody found that funny. I've done it twice now, so it's no longer funny. Okay. Message received. Robert Vaughn.
Robert Vaughn died Friday morning from acute leukemia at the age of 83.
And we've established here before, if I don't know who this is, I don't give a bleep because I can't, right? I have limited. Who is Robert Vaughn?
Robert Vaughn was in the original The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I've never seen it.
He was nominated for an Oscar for The Young Philadelphians. He was also in The Magnificent Seven,
Oh, okay.
Bullet, The Towering Inferno, and he was the villain in Superman 3.
3.
That's
yes, right. That's
That's Robert Vaughn.
Is that the one with Richard Pryor in
yes,
it?
it is.
Okay.
Robert Vaughn has the best villain plot ever.
We should
in
know.
Superman 3.
We should know we've all got a decade on Ben, so he's going to be hilarious to us. But even Ben's like, yeah, Superman 3.
Yeah.
Superman 3 is the
Superman
first
3 is
movie
great.
I remember seeing in a theater,
Yeah.
which profoundly dates me.
Mine was Jurassic Park.
Good God, I'm
Jurassic Park.
No, we're the same age. I just didn't go to a movie theater till I was like 8. Yeah. You have any Robert Vaughn thoughts, memories? Are you familiar with his work?
No, not really.
Then you don't give a
I
bleep.
don't give a bleep.
Yeah. And don't write him hate letters. He doesn't deserve them. I give a bleep.
Yeah, he was in at least the third best Superman movie.
Yeah. That's right.
I would totally agree with Ben on that. I think Superman 3 is an unheralded classic.
Fair enough.
But
Just like the Mighty Ducks 3.
Right, right. But I just think that we have to have respect for a villain whose plot is to take over an artificially intelligent weather satellite and use it to destroy the world's coffee crop so that he alone can control the coffee trade.
Hey. Nolan Bushnell actually, in the Atari days, Nolan Bushnell actually wound up with a monopoly on microprocessors. Because he had monopolized the entire supply. He was buying them so fast. Nobody else could get their hands on microprocessors. Capitalism, so much fun. All right, what's
Now,
next?
one last thing on Robert Vaughn.
Fun and-
The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is a great show. It's kind of been lost to history because it's from the 60s. It's a long time ago. There was recently a movie version of it that was lost to cinema because it came out at sort of an in-between time and they really didn't market it very well, but it was awesome. So if you haven't seen any Man from U.N.C.L.E., go check it out. Totally worth your time.
And I'm tasking you with then getting on the comment of this video, and getting on the comment section and leave a comment with a link to an example of it so that we can show that underneath. I'm not gonna. The card space is limited, but let's leave one in the comments, and I'll pin it to the top or something.
All right, that's doable.
All right, cool. All right, what's next?
Russell Brand is a father.
For the first time?
Huh?
No. I'm not even buying that in the least. No. It didn't take him that long.
For the first time anybody could prove.
For the
Yes.
first time anybody can prove. Okay, way to go,
Yeah.
Russell Brand.
Yes.
I will never know his kid. I will never meet Russell Brand. Russell Brand doesn't know who I am. He doesn't care who I am. The Reggie Watts follows me on Google+. And he followed me first.
Hey.
Anyway, so I don't give a bleep.
Okay.
Josh, you give a bleep? Nah. Ben?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Kids in general, but especially his.
Will you give a bleep when I have kids?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure you'd be great at it.
So let's not kids in general, but kids you will never know. Exactly. Do you give a bleep?
I give a bleep mainly because he's planning to raise it as gender neutral.
You know,
I think biology's going to have a few things to say about that.
biology's gonna have a lot to say for it, and I saw a video on Facebook today, and it was a mother, and the kid must have been 6 years old, and I guess the school had some kind of mock election, and the kid voted Trump, and the mother was so pissed off that she packed the kid a bag and was kicking him out of the house. Not really, but she was trying to scare him, right? Like, now you get to leave because you're not part of my family anymore. So when it comes to parenting, everybody's doing the best they can, but damn, do people let their personal politics get involved way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. Gender neutral, the kid's gonna have a gender.
Yeah, but the kid can pick their own gender rather than having one forced upon them.
Hey,
You know, raising your kid gender neutral is basically not telling them what toys they can and can't play with because you're a boy or you're a girl or whatever. You know, it's here, have baseball gloves and dump trucks and Barbie dolls. It's
well, then I was raised gender neutral.
Yeah.
were you really raised gender neutral?
Yeah,
Or
I played with Barbies.
at what age?
3, 4.
You sure?
Yeah, it was preschool. I remember. Well, I remember my parents reacting to it.
I was definitely
Yeah,
not raised gender neutral. And neither were you, man. Come on.
You sure?
We are both products of the patriarchy.
That's okay.
Whether it was conscious or not, whether there was a moment where you said, "Mommy, can I get the doll?" and she said, "No, you have to buy the G.I. Joe," which is what happened to me.
I love my G.I. Joes.
Well, for me, actually, it was My Little Pony. I wanted that My Little Pony castle because it was enormous and awesome.
I think
And-
the My Little Pony might actually be in frame. I love Rainbow Dash.
Huh. But there was no doubt that I was funneled into the blue column and girls were funneled into the pink column.
Well, you
And-
were also raised in a cult.
Well, that's true.
So-
but beyond the cult I was raised in, the broader culture of America in the 80s when I grew up definitely had specific roles that the genders were meant to play. And we were never given a choice. And there's definitely an argument to be had against that.
Hey, you know me.
Yeah.
Love who you're gonna love, right?
Yeah.
The problem is the biological gender has like on a policy level has effects on birth rates. And if you look at what's going on in Japan, they have an aging population because the birth rate was low after World War II for really understandable reasons. So I don't know. On this one, raise your kid how you're going to raise them. You know? I'm not sure I would be weird about it if I had a boy, if they were playing with a Barbie, if I'd be weird about it. I'd be more weird about the fact that they wanted to buy something from a transnational corporation. I'd be like, here, play with a guitar. Here, let me make you a doll.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. All right. So, you give a bleep.
I give a bleep.
Fair enough. What's next?
Fans can now record their own vocals at Paisley Park.
Really?
Princess
How much does it cost? No. Hold on. How much does it cost?
Paisley Park opened as a museum in October,
Yeah.
and they plan to offer new themed fan packages through March 31st.
Right.
Starting December 1st on Thursdays, VIP tour ticket holders can record vocals over a short segment of a Prince song
Oh,
in the Studio B control room
no.
and take the live mix home. And the VIP tickets cost $100.
I'm okay with the $100. I'm okay with that, but I'm going, can I get in there for a day? Let's do a Freeform Fridays up in Paisley Park. I would be down. We could crowdfund it. We should get in touch with
awesome.
Paisley Park. I wonder if they would let us in on like an off, like when it was normally closed. If we could hire a local decent engineer and get in there and do that, we could probably crowdfund it at some point, as we build the audience. So tell a friend about what we're doing so that maybe we can actually go do something really wild and cool like that.
They're also doing Friday evenings Paisley Park After Dark dance parties. Saturday evenings are Prince movies and rare performance footage.
Where does the money go?
And Sundays are the Brunch Experience VIP tour, where you get a meal in Prince's private MPG music club.
You know, as much as Prince railed against the music industry his whole life, right? He was really the guy. He was going, my contract was BS. They really ripped him off, as they did so many artists of that era. And right after his death, holy cow, they are turning it into a theme park.
Yeah.
Hey, they waited a week.
Oh, a week. A week. I give a bleep that I'm not entirely cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it turning into a museum. But I hear the entrance
Yeah.
is very high for the museum.
Mm.
And I guess, he's got that room full of doves. The whole place is wired for sound. He really could record the sound of doves crying if he really wanted. But I give a bleep that they're charging so much, that they've so over-commercialized this from Prince, one of the least commercially centric guys his whole career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steven, you give a bleep?
I'm not bothered as much by the rank commercialization just because I've accepted that as inevitable. Like, that will happen in a capitalist society with everything all the time, no matter what. I go to Disneyland, they're going to try to rape my wallet over and over and over again every second I'm there. I still have a great time. But
That's
in
why
a
I don't go
broader
to
social
Disneyland.
sense,
No, you don't
I
go
think
to
it's
Disneyland 'cause you're
awesome
cheap.
that Paisley Park is now sort of a nicely diverse antidote to Graceland. Like, it's always bothered me that Graceland is sort of the only major music artist home that's been turned into a pilgrimage site.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very appropriate to have someone from such a dramatically different place in the music spectrum to have an equally, gaudy and kind of awesome mansion we can all go and see. I
Yeah.
think that's cool.
Yeah.
Though, isn't Motown in Detroit, isn't that a museum now? Isn't Studio A museum? Somebody leave me a comment. I could have swore that the Motown building in Detroit, where they cut all of those hits, is a functional museum.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure there's other sites like that, but that's around an entity with a huge array of artists, whereas Graceland it's Elvis.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anyone that wasn't a white Southern rocker that got that kind of elevation, and I think Prince really deserves it. And the fact that Paisley Park is a museum and a gift shop, in a weird sort of fucked up way, I think actually elevates his legacy.
Please don't swear. There's probably children
Oh,
listening.
I'm sorry.
All right.
It's that, but I mean, hell, everything I'm saying they can hear from their president-elect, so
Yeah, well,
not like they're going to hear it here for the first time.
yeah, it's over. We all just need to focus on the next one.
We're not talking about it.
Exactly. We had a big long discussion downstairs. We have a diverse array of ideas in the room, and we all figured out how to come together in this time where some people are very upset. So I will say this is the time to go talk to the people who voted for the other person. Understand what they're about, understand why they did it, and you'll find that everybody's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, because they're using a different set of facts from you, which means you have to be willing to question your own set of facts. And until you can agree on the facts, there's no moving forward.
There you go. So, Ben, you give a bleep about Paisley Park. Are you a Prince fan?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of curious because I really do like Prince. I really love his music, and I think it was really important. And I definitely feel what you're saying is, if there are gonna be artists that we kind of memorialize in that way, Prince is certainly a good one.
As would be Miles Davis.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think this is all a little ridiculous, just in the money thing. It's like, I mean, at my core beliefs is if people think that's worth their money, then like why not? Like who am I to say
Sure.
that it's wrong? I personally don't get it. I don't get the way we kind of I am a huge music fan, but I think people take it to a crazy place sometimes, and it's like, they take it to like a personality place, or they like really deeply identify with this person in a way that goes like way beyond the music, and that's cool, but at the same time it's kind of weird, and it does leave the opportunity for whoever's in charge of his estate right now to just cash in on that. But then again, if people are willing to part with their money for that sort of thing, then more power to them.
Yeah.
So I guess I give like half a bleep, maybe. Solid half bleep.
It's like an indifferent bleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a meh bleep.
Josh, you give a bleep?
I suppose so. A bit of a bleep. Yeah, I mean,
It'd be nice to see it.
it would be nice to see it. I certainly don't have the funds to spare on something like that. Something
That's
that
why
I
you're all
consider
gonna buy
very
his album.
Frivolous.
You're gonna buy his album,
But-
and then what we'll do, if we can sell a bunch of copies of your album, we'll send you up there. We'll
There we go.
send Steven with the cameras, and we'll just we'll just film you reacting. We'll make a little mini doc out of it.
Nice.
So, yeah. All right. What's next?
Okay, well, as I understand it, this video is supposed to be released on the 14th, correct?
What day is it? It's the 12th. Yeah, it'll be released on 14th.
Okay. November 14th is both National Pickle Day and National Spicy Guacamole Day.
I totally don't give a bleep. I'm so glad we're not breaking this up this time. Nobody gives a bleep about National Pickle.
Who is coming up with these things?
You know what? It's Congress. I blame Congress.
Don't they have something better to do?
No, apparently not.
Make
They,
up completely irrelevant, non-functional holidays.
and how many of these people got reelected? Right? How
Yeah.
many of these people got reelected? Marco Rubio won his seat again.
Did he really?
Yeah. And so I just don't give a bleep. National whatever day. Ben, you give a bleep?
I personally think it's shameful that the fat cats up in their ivory towers in the big pickle industry are forcing these holidays upon us.
Damn you, Big Pickle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, okay, I am a fan of both all sorts of pickles and spicy guacamole.
Okay.
So I will be celebrating those days quite heartily. But I didn't need my Congress people to tell me that, to go eat pickles and spicy guacamole.
And by the way, unless this was approved by Congress, it's BS, and we should not let people declare things days unless Congress approves it. If it's not, then leave a comment and let me know. Either I'm pissed off at the congressman, or I'm pissed off at Congress for not saying, no, we're the only ones that get to declare national days.
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that Congress did not declare it National Pickle Day.
All right, well
I
then
wouldn't
I am
think so.
declaring the 15th National Get Off My Lawn Records Day. National Get Off My Lawn Day. You go out to your front lawn, you see your neighbor, and you yell at him. You say, "Get off my lawn," and that'll be National Get Off My Lawn Day.
I can get behind that.
All right, spread the word.
Dig.
Yeah.
Spread the word. November 15th, National Get Off My Lawn Day. All right, what's next? Escapist fun.
Though I would like to point out that on behalf of non-spicy guacamole, I'm
Oh, I
slightly
forgot to
offended
ask you.
by the elevation of the spicy, but
right.
whatever.
Every day is pickle and spicy guacamole day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really in your heart.
Yeah. So we've tried a lot of things on this one. This is what the bleep have you done for the label. We tried some list baity things. Nobody cared. So I just wanted to do Escapist Fun because we talked about the 800-pound gorilla. We're gonna move. I'm just not gonna talk about it anymore. It's over. So I want to talk to you guys about. Let's talk about the record contract. Let's talk about how this works and then we need to talk about how we're going to do this record. So
Indeed.
So the way the contract works is everybody who's involved splits it evenly after I recoup some costs. The contract is going up on getoffmylawnrecords.com. I want the whole audience to be able to read the contract. I want to do this as transparently as I can, short of sales numbers. I don't want you to know how well anybody's doing or not doing, because that's none of your business. So, but at the same time, if we're doing great, then it's totally everybody's business. But, but right now, it's none of your business. We're gonna split everything. I have costs to recoup when I manufacture things, and then we're gonna have to record. We'll record to tape, and there will be some cost on that. But so tell me about this project, and then let's figure out how many tapes we're gonna need and who's gonna be involved.
Yeah, so basically been most of this year I've been writing and just working on what started as just a set of 3 tunes that I was kind of thinking of as a continuous piece.
Okay.
And now it's evolved into something a little more eclectic.
Okay.
And there's kind of going to be 2 distinct sounds on the record, which is
A side A
kind
and a
of
side
possibly a side A and a side B.
B. Okay.
One's a much more jazz-oriented, a lot more electronic sounds and synth and keyboards and electric guitars and lots of,
Yeah.
big, fluffy kinds of sounds.
Sure.
And the other side is going to be much more sparse with a much more Middle Eastern-inspired
Sure.
vibe to it, more acoustic instruments, frame drums, ouds, more of a live acoustic sort of sound.
Right.
And more modal things and less like fast moving harmony kinds of things. And
Okay.
yeah, so
yeah, it'll be 2 pretty distinct sounds.
two pretty distinct sounds.
Let me tell you about whether or not. Now let's figure out if we can do this as part of the Get Off My Lawn Records Artisan Sound Series. If I can do tapes, tapes have really specific limitations. When you say continuous, that raises some flags for me. How long are we talking about for these pieces?
For those pieces, it would be. You probably wouldn't go past 20 minutes.
15 is my limit.
Is your limit?
Yeah.
It could probably be in 15.
Okay.
Just like, shortening solos and things like that.
Gotcha. And actually, there's a lot to be said for that, right? Do 2 of those.
Mm-hmm.
Do 2 15-minute pieces. And then we have side A of a tape.
Yeah.
And then side B, you could do 4 7-minute pieces or whatever, but it still's got to come out to right at 30.
Yeah.
And I can do them on individual tapes on that one though, so that's easy.
Yeah.
How many people are we talking about? Are you envisioning on the first half?
If the first half is the big fluffy half, that could be a pretty large ensemble.
Sure. And then what we'll do, maybe we got to revisit the language, because when somebody plays on a track on your album,
right.
I want you to split that track with them.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're only if it's a large group, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we gotta clarify that somehow in the language. Can we work on that this week?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll figure out how to do that. So you're talking about 15 people?
Probably somewhere in that range.
Oh, that's gonna be cozy downstairs.
Oh yeah. And it could be something that we do. I know you want to try to avoid overdubs.
I want to avoid overdubs at all cost.
Yeah, but if say there was a, string quartet in part of something, that could potentially be, like the main group could play through something and then we could do that a little bit. But
I guess overdubs could work. It's just hard because we're gonna film it.
Right.
This part is what's gonna make us different. I've got the cameras.
Yeah.
We can do at least 3 cameras at all times.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And maybe Steven can make it, and if not,
When is this?
we don't know yet. We'll schedule it. We're gonna have a meeting. I will have you come in and do the photography for the cover and maybe I can talk you into doing the layout too for the result. And then you'll be compensated as if you had played on every track.
Yeah.
So we just got to figure out how to clarify that in the language, okay?
Okay.
That sounds pretty good. Is it just what's the name of the project you're going to call it?
Probably just go under my name on that one.
Josh Peters.
Yeah.
What do you want to name it?
I'm not certain yet.
Okay.
It's something I'm kicking around. Naming things is very difficult for me.
So right now we're
Song titles and album titles and
yeah.
it's all. But
We're
it's
gonna call it
definitely-
working title.
We're gonna call it working title. Yeah,
All right. Working title, Josh Peters. That's gonna be fun.
yeah. I'm excited.
I'm really excited. Do you want me to play on it, or you just want me to engineer it?
Yeah. There's definitely some spots where I'd thought about having you play on it.
Absolutely. And then it's just one less person to split with.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah.
Cool. That's pretty cool. Ben, you got a project you wanted to talk about. What was your project? You wanted to write some songs?
It's like still kind of in it's just been going along for a while. I used to do this all the time when I was like in college and stuff, as I would write.
You're
I'd
still
write-
in college. Quit lying to the audience.
the undergrad college.
The other college.
Yeah, but I would kind of write tunes, and the stuff I tend to write tends to be sort of like rock and roll pop stuff, short songs, like inspired by like Beatles and like power pop stuff like Raspberries, Big Star, like 70s kind of stuff.
So now here's what you're going to get to do is I'm totally going to send you this video. You got to actually like write all that shit out for me. See, you got one, I'm taking one. You're going to write all this stuff out for me so I can put tags in the video, but keep going.
Okay. Yeah, well, so I just kind of tend to like write songs and then I'll demo them myself on my computer. Usually I end up using a drum machine because when I go home, my brother's an awesome drummer.
You got a drummer.
But yeah, but I haven't gotten him out to Texas yet, so I might need to recruit some cats for the.
You got a drummer.
Yeah, good one too.
Right. It's all a family, right? We're going to play on everybody's records. You guys are already on Freeform Fridays. One of the things on the contract is everybody's got to come join us on either this podcast or Freeform Fridays.
Nice.
So
Yeah, and actually, there's a second project.
yeah, what's the second one?
It's a little duo I have with a Turkish friend of mine, Ingin.
Okay.
It's called Sounds in Between. He plays fretless guitar, and I play oud.
I feel so left out. Okay.
And yeah, we were.
You want to cut?
We
You
want
wanna
to
cut one?
cut something with you guys,
Yeah. Okay.
and
You want to just do live in a room, kind
yeah,
of?
just live in a room kind of thing. But
Just let me know when.
I think he'd be great to bring in on the freeform thing.
Yeah, the next one will be January 2nd. So
Mhm.
I'm almost sure of it. I got to look at the calendar,
Yeah.
but I'm ramping up for January 2nd. We've got them. We just finished them. Well, I've got 3 more I was showing you guys.
Yeah.
This Kenny Dorham's backyard. I put up a video this week on the jazz. Did I put it up on the Jazz Destroyers? I think I did. Put your hand up. I'll put a card on it. It's called Diverse Arts Culture Works, a call to action. Because remember at the end we did where Harold talked about it, so I
Yeah.
put together a fundraising video for him,
Nice.
and we put that up. So that's the stage, and that's what these are going to look like. But we've got a few in the queue from your previous session from 6. And Ben, you were playing on the Kenny Dorham session,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so eventually you'll start seeing Ben show up in the Freeform Fridays again too. And cool, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And are you talking about? So you want to do? You're going to have to build a band from scratch, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, for my personal.
Yeah, and Ben too.
Yeah. Usually, well, you said you don't like to do overdubs too much. 'Cause
No.
usually, the way I've always recorded in the past is I get someone else to play drums, and then I do everything else.
I know.
So,
I know, but
I
I'm
guess
also
I'll just
big
have
on
to-
getting you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll just,
And it's in my so I've been doing this now for 15 years. I was talking to somebody. I think I'm unique in this, in that I'm a maniac in that I've been recording myself as long as I've been playing. So I've learned the lessons of overdubs, and I don't want to make that kind of music. It doesn't sound right. It sounds fake. We're lying to our audience when we do that.
I mean,
Not when you do analog overdub, but especially when you get in there and edit.
Mm-hmm.
Just capture it. Make good music.
Yeah.
Plus, we have no money. So,
yeah.
all right. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to having some real escapist fun for a change. Get off your news feed. Facebook's lying to you. What's next? Announcements, goals, and a giveaway. So we talked about your guys' record. So we got the Josh Peters record. It's going to be coming out. We're calling that Working Title. And then another Working Title 2 would be the duo record with you, and
His name is Ingin Hasamanji.
you're going to have to share the video with him, tag
Yeah,
him,
for sure.
and you're going to have to send me how to spell that for the...
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got Ben's project, which we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm not sure we're ready to announce on that one. We got to get the content together first.
Yeah,
Josh
yeah.
is a lot farther along on this.
I'm gonna use winter break to get my act together.
That's right. We're gonna get it worked out. So then we also the Volca album. I failed at doing the unboxing video this week, so we're gonna probably do that tomorrow, and then I'm gonna get back to working on the Volca album. But it'll be, I'm shooting for January 1 on that. I'm actually shooting for Christmas, but I don't know that I'll make it. But I got to do 30 more minutes of it, so it's still quite a bit to write and record. Best of Freeform Fridays. So now we've started editing the last session of Freeform Fridays. Those are going to start showing up on Fridays. I'm getting ready to compile the Best of Freeform Fridays. We're going to make download cards available. We're going to make it available online. It's going to be for sale through the Bandcamp and everything. MC Overlord album, I got to reach out. I got to finish the formatting. Let's clarify that part of the language, and then I'll send that over. Thunderwake soundtrack, just not right. I have no news. It's a secret to nobody. There's no news. Jazz Destroyers Live. That I do have news. We have download cards. So here, take these. They're $5 each, and then. Well, no, wait. Neither of you guys played on it. There's no reason for you to go out selling them. But here, take one, enjoy it, pass it along. The first 100 I have hand numbered. So.
Nice, thank you.
Because I know they're not really super, they're download cards. But it's the first representation of a physical product put out by Get Off My Lawn Records. Yes. So they're $5 if you see me. The album, The Jazz Destroyers Live, is actually $10 online. So it's a discount when you buy the actual download cards. All right, and then Escape from Ignorance. You're still writing the next episode, right?
Right. Well, I'm more like trying to finish out the season.
Yeah, and then we'll do a batch
The reason
process.
why I'm struggling with the next episode is because I'm not sure where it needs to go after that. So I'm trying to get a much bigger set of episodes together.
That makes sense. And Sounds in Between, that was the name of the project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the duo project.
That's the duo project.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then Your Name Here. So that's 2 less slots. I think we have 4 left before I'm sure I've bitten off more than I can chew. So, all right, what's next? Oh, the goals. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube, so please tell some friends. Let's try to get that number together. And we're at 72 right now, so that's pretty cool. And then the giveaway, Stephen, put up your right hand. I'm going to give away everybody who's watching this video. They're going to get to see Mother. We did Mother at the Kenny Dorms. That's edited. It's on the channel, but it's unlisted. I haven't released it yet, so this is an early look for people who actually watch the podcast. So that's pretty cool. All right, and what's next? Shout-outs. 3 shout-outs. Projects, people, whatever. Steven, you go first because you're pretty good at this.
No pressure. So the first shout-out, since I already put some Doctor Who love out there into the ether earlier, and bravo for recognizing that reference. That's
I love
pretty
that
good.
I play oud, and I can always think about, I want to have, an oud on my oud case.
Oh, that'd be great. I would love that so much.
Just that ridiculous little...
Like a sticker?
Yeah, like a sticker of a Doctor Who oud
A Doctor
Alien.
Who Ood sticker.
on my oud case.
Somebody get in contact with me. Find me let's make that happen. We'll get in contact with me through the Facebook page. We'll get you an oud sticker. We'll get you an oud sticker for your oud case.
All right. So I mean, a lot of Americans have discovered Doctor Who in the past few years because the current version of the series has become sort of international. I'm one of the few Americans that has seen all 888 plus episodes of the entire run that began in 1963.
Do you ever sleep?
Not really.
Okay.
And the early episodes are fairly painful to watch by modern standards, but they were still pretty revolutionary at the time.
Yep.
Sadly, the BBC, in its infinite short-sightedness, decided back in the late 70s that it didn't need to keep archived files of any of these things, and they burnt or erased a whole bunch of old tapes. And lots of classic Doctor Who episodes have been lost to the ether. Only the audio recordings exist.
So you've listened to them.
So I have listened to them.
Okay.
And so I've seen them, I've heard them all. Some enterprising Doctor Who fans at the BBC decided to take one of the most famous Lost episodes, called Power of the Daleks.
Okay.
Historic for being the first episode to air with the second Doctor.
Okay.
And now that we're on Doctor 12, it's easy to forget what an utterly revolutionary narrative concept it was to have the main character of your show literally turn into a different person.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And the fact that Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor's first episode, has always been lost to history has been sort of a great tragedy.
All right. We gotta
What they
we gotta
did-
rehearse after this.
Yeah, what they did was they created an animated version. They hired a team of animators and they animated it
Cool.
to the original soundtrack.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, Power of the Daleks. It's either out now or will be released shortly.
Cool.
Everyone should check that out.
All right, Ben. 3 shout-outs. Let's keep that a little tighter though.
3 shout-outs. Oh, just to like anything?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually was going to mention this for Leonard Cohen, but I wasn't quick enough with my brain. I have a friend who's an artist who illustrated a graphic novel about Leonard Cohen.
Very cool.
Her name is Eleanor Millman. I will put some link to this
Yes, you'll
in
get
the comments.
Yep. We'll make sure that we got links to it. Eleanor, yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Eleanor ran lights for Freeform Friday Session 6.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that is a shout-out. My next shout-out is to non-spicy guacamole because I do think that it is getting it's gotten lost in the shuffle here, and I want to emphasize that all guacamole was created equal.
That's right.
And my third shout out, oh man, I didn't come prepared.
That's
Anyway,
all right.
my
What, Josh, you got 3 shout-outs?
I don't know.
Let's shout out Josh Thompson,
Josh Thompson, for sure.
right?
He's always worth shouting out.
Always worth shouting
Yeah.
out. He's so busy, he can never make the Freeform Fridays except
Yeah.
for the one session.
Yeah, yeah.
But he plays with us all the time when we can, and he's just the hardest working man in Austin.
Yeah, for sure.
Who else?
Well, the lovely folks with the Texas Early Music Project.
There you go, Texas
who I've
Early
had
Music
the pleasure
Project.
of playing with a couple weeks ago, and now tomorrow. doing
So
that
make sure you
project.
give me a link, and we'll put it in the description,
Yeah.
and that'll be very cool. That's awesome. And who else?
Yeah. Who else? I got nothing.
All right, darling. Who are your 3?
My 3. First, a big congratulations to Alex Baldwin for having a career for the next 4 years.
But he's retired. He didn't ask for that.
No, but now he has it. And really, as an actor, are you going to bitch?
That's true. Like he needs more money.
Yes. Second shout out is to Dr. Michael Endel, who is an astronomer focusing on exoplanets. And he is also my current stellar astronomy professor.
Excellent.
And before our test on Thursday, he made it a point to talk to us about what was going on and to help give us some perspective, which leads me to my third shout out to Carl Sagan for Pale Blue Dot.
That's right. So I have to add one then. Symphony of Science. The guy he would chop up Carl
Yeah.
Sagan, auto-tune it, and just make the most wonderful things with it. I'll track down a link, and Stephen, put your hand up, and yeah, there you go. I'll put a card right there.
Yeah, Carl Sagan is the closest thing to like a secular deity
Yeah.
that you
Yes.
can get.
So my first shout out is Brandon McClellan. Brandon was able to help us get the high-res. He got us a high-res version of the Jazz Destroyers logo.
Ah,
Because I got that
Nice.
little one over to Highball when we played, and I was looking on the wall, and granted it was on a curtain, so you couldn't really tell, but it was really pixelated. So Brandon recreated that and did a high res version for us because
It looked
I'd
good.
lost that.
It looked good from the back of the room.
yeah, I mean,
It looked great.
Yeah, we should have brought cameras. I didn't know if I was going to be allowed, and then we didn't. Next time we go play Highball, not this Thursday. We'll be there on Thursday, but in the lobby of the Alamo. And next time we do a gig up on that stage, though, we'll bring the cameras. Yeah. My second shout out is to Andrea Frank. We were supposed to record. She was on the Freeform Fridays with the Harp by Andrea set edition, which is what I call session 5. And we were all gonna record stuff for her channel today, but she got under the weather. So she's got kids. Everybody has a stomach thing. It sounds awful. So get better soon. And a big shout out to the Get Off My Lawn Records family. I started a Facebook group. It's only for the hardcore. Because I'm going to give everybody early access. I'm going to ask everybody to share. Don't share, like, copy paste the links.
Copy paste, okay.
Because I don't want passing fans to come onto this, because you get a notification every time I post. So I don't want to really over bombard everybody. But if you want to join, and I'm adminning it right now. But it's Get Off My Lawn Records family on Facebook.
Okay.
And all right, what's next? All that matters is output. Period. End of story. That is my mantra. All that matters is output. We do a lot of, as creative people, we do a lot of sitting around talking about what we're going to do. Doesn't matter. All that matters is output. So I wanted to take this time to give everybody a pep talk and remind you that all that matters is output. I'm not saying quantity of output. When I've explained, it's hard to really define this, right? It's just a mantra to live by. Work towards the output. Because if you spend your whole life saying, "Oh, it's not good enough," you'll never output anything, and then it doesn't matter. All that matters is output. You have to set your own limitations. You have to be okay with how you are and who you are and where you're at, and you have to output. Otherwise, nobody will know what you're doing. And if you want to live in obscurity, that's fine. But let's face it, we're musicians, and the only way to make an actual living is to break out past obscurity. Otherwise, musicians make the same today as they did in the 70s, and the cost of everything else around us has gone up. It's really, really hard to just be a gigging musician around town. And so you have to output. We have to work on, that's why we do Freeform Fridays. It's why we do this podcast. It's all output. Steven, I'm sure you could appreciate that. If you take 100 photographs and you never make any for sale, what's it matter?
Right, and from a writer's standpoint, it's like if you're not constantly writing, you're not writing. It's like you can't be a writer if you're not constantly trying to put stuff out there.
Right.
And to me, the big point is to not overstress and overanalyze everything. Like you should start each project with a clear vision of what the end goal is. And if you can't figure out what the output should be, you're not ready to start.
Right.
And once you start, don't like perfectionism is the enemy of goodness.
Yeah.
Perfectionism is the enemy of output.
Yeah.
Not necessarily goodness, but you have to get to a point where you go, it's not going to get better in a reasonable amount of time. That's why record labels exist, because we kind of put these parameters on things. We're going to record it on this date. An album is going to come out of that day. So show up with your A game. And if you don't like it, I'm the one who has the right to not release it, not you. Like, you have to give that over if you're going to ask somebody else to pay for any part of the process. And I've met a lot of people. I'm sure every one of them watching will think I'm speaking directly about them. But there's a lot of these people where they like to talk about what they're doing, and they practice a lot, and they like to talk about how much they're practicing, and they like to talk about other musicians and what they're practicing and what they're doing. That's all fun, but it has nothing to do with output.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ben? Of course, you're in that part of your life where you have assignments.
Yeah.
Output is demanded of you.
I'm also still in that part of my life where I think I'm still rapidly climbing the.
I have news for you. It never stops.
Yeah.
It never stops. If you're hitting a lull where you don't feel like you're improving, it's time to change up your routine. It's time to seek guidance from others. It's time to fix that. But if you constantly reassess and you stay intellectually curious and you put forth the energy, you will always improve at a vast rate. I'm a lot better now than I was a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's not entirely clear which videos are which on the Freeform Fridays playlist, but you can hear a difference between like the ones with the Regal Cat and the ones from that first session when you came in. We're a lot better.
Yeah.
Never stops. It goes on for years and years and years. But the funny thing is it's totally non-linear too. Like, the reason you fit in isn't because we're so much better than you or not. Because better and worse are not. It's not a linear comparison. We all play different. We're all at different parts of our lives, and it all comes together. And I wonder if we're going to hear my neighbor mowing. This is not a soundproof room. It's actually very tough.
Yeah.
All right. So all that matters is output. So get off YouTube, go practice, go make something, put it out into the world, and before you do that, send it to me, show it to me, and if you want me to release it. What's next? Everybody gets a trophy. My favorite section. So on every show, because these guys, they're slackers, they haven't subscribed. Have you subscribed to this?
No.
Go home, subscribe to this when you get done. So they haven't seen this. At the end of every podcast, and I don't break them out into the individual clips, this is only for the viewers of the long-form show, we give each other trophies. We recognize each other both sarcastically and sincerely. So this week I'm totally giving the Brevity Award to Steven, who carried on about Doctor Who until we ran out of time.
Well, I am going to give a special award to Ben for the best hair on the podcast.
He's got a tremendous head.
Yeah.
I wear the
I think we're
hat
all
because I can't. I have to. Yeah, that is quite a mane.
It is.
And you got it from your mom, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
I
mean,
met your mom, and it was
Both my parents, but my mom definitely.
yeah. It's. Do you ever do people mistake you for a woman from behind from time to time? Because it really is luxurious.
I think if I were like smaller and had a different body type, that would happen more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. People touch it a lot though, especially if like I go out to a bar or something.
No.
I mean, depending on who's touching it, it doesn't really matter.
What
Like,
a double standard. Because I assume you're speaking of women.
oh yeah.
Yeah, you're not allowed to touch a girl's hair.
I mean, the way I see it is like it's just about like what you personally care about. I personally don't care that people like do that. And that doesn't really have to do with whether I'm a dude or a girl or whatever. Like I just personally don't really care. I think it's kind of amusing. And, honestly, it has been kind of an icebreaker with some very good looking women. So I don't care.
There you go.
But the thing is, like, other people, like, do care. And, so I would never do that to someone else, but, like, whatever.
Yeah.
I would like to point out, I think all three of you are currently on the market, if you will. So,
Like, not really.
okay. Ben's kind of off the market.
Mine's
but-
limited market.
Limited markets. But, they, believe me, all men love female attention, so if you're a female, give these guys some attention. Boost their egos, it makes them play better. All right, Ben, now you give somebody else a trophy.
The trophy. Well, let me think for a second. I'm gonna give this one to Josh because we had some really good discussion downstairs
That's
about
right.
the state of America, and it's just it's nice to talk to somebody who sees politics like differently than you, and to have a civil discussion where you really like learn something. Like what I actually forget who said this earlier, but kind of like talk to the people who voted differently than you, find out where they're coming from, and realize that you actually all want the same things a lot more than the media likes to tell you that
Right.
you want the same things.
Right.
So anyways, I want to give the award to Josh for helping broaden my perspective as a human being this afternoon.
That's awesome. That's why we do, and that's
Likewise.
why we tried to keep this non-political. Steven came in. He said it has to be. It has, and so we spent an hour and a half debating downstairs.
I
coming to a
maintain that
conclusion.
viewers and listeners would have really benefited from the discussion we had earlier. I think
Well,
that would
I
have been
hope-
a great thing to put into the world.
I
I'm
hope
glad
that
we
they
had
would
it.
benefit just from knowing that all you have to do is go talk to somebody who voted for the other side. Like, that's it. Just go talk to them. Hug them. We're all people. We're all hurting.
If your goal is to find consensus, you'll be shocked at how easy it is to find when
Yeah.
everybody's looking for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I've said, the only thing I'm going to say about this, because I'm threatening to run for Congress, because Michael McCall might become Homeland Security Secretary, and then his seat's going to open up, and I might do it. I might go.
I would vote for you, Don.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll actually put this one up as a clip since I'm saying that. But the important thing is we're all hurting. Every one of us. And some people are hurting and chose to vote one way, and some people are hurting and chose to vote the other way. What they did was they drove a wedge down the middle of us so that we didn't unite against the moneyed elite. We like to talk about the celebrity news, but these are people we'll never meet. They have more money than I would ever know how to spend. And look in this room, I would try. Right? I grew up in a part of the country where that kind of money exists. And it's so you just can't, it just has nothing to do with the rest of society. Your friends will still be your friends. Your lover will still be your lover, and your parents will still be your parents. And you just have to try to understand where they're coming from. You make sure that they understand where you're coming from. But the most important thing is to try to understand somebody else's perspective. That's the only way to grow as a human being. By spending all that time working on that, I've become a much better musician. So, sorry. Do you have any thoughts? Closing thoughts?
All kinds of thoughts.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, you got to give the trophy to somebody else after your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just too much.
Too much. There's too many thoughts to really
Right.
choose.
Let's spend the
good one.
next.
So-
Let's all take a week and just become self-reflective and think about. Was I manipulated? What did my bias do?
Yeah.
And just work on that. And all of a sudden, we're all going to be a little happier. And that's all we're trying to do is some escapist fun. All right.
Yeah.
Now you give somebody else the trophy.
All right. I'm going to give it to you for dealing with all the logistical nonsense of this.
Logistical. I set everything up. Yeah. You have any thoughts? This has been a tough week.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Thank you for getting the contracts done.
You're welcome.
What I figured out on election night, I was watching, and the candidate I wanted to win did not win. But I was watching, and I was becoming upset at the numbers as they were coming in. So instead, I said, I'm going to spend 30 minutes, and I'm going to focus on creating, because all that matters is output. I'm going to focus on creating for 30 minutes, and I'm not going to look into the external world. I'm just going to create for 30 minutes. And after that 30 minutes, I was a lot happier. And then I went and I checked the news, and the numbers were coming in, and they weren't looking good. And so then I went and I created for 30 minutes. So just go focus for 30 minutes on creating something to make the world a better place. And it helps. And you did this week. You helped us get our contracts.
Yes.
Thank you again.
You get the award for the shortest Get Off My Lawn Records podcast to date.
Well, it's 4. Or am I an hour ahead?
You're an hour ahead. You never changed that clock.
Oh! How long has this been running? Does anybody know?
We started at 1:55.
Hey, all right. So tell a friend. We're working on the podcast. We're trying to make some things. We're making some changes. We're going to try to make this as fun for the audience as possible. Go check these guys out. Check out the Freeform Fridays. Tell a friend about what we're doing, and go talk to somebody who voted the other way, and ask them why. And even if it makes you angry, accept them for who they are and just love each other. So, on that note,